just to annoy people, I've started the show 5 minutes early. I know. What kind of man am I? There's the click that tells me that it's alerted everybody that this, and there's another click that has alerted me that I've just been alerted by myself to say that the show has started a little bit earlier. That's okay. I'm still faffing about here trying to make myself look beautiful, which is a very hard job for a man of a certain age. A celebrity not in his prime, as somebody once said today, which was funny because not only am I not in my prime, I'm also not a celebrity. But hey, who's counting anyway? So I think without further ado, we'll make things happen here and we'll get the show underway. Let's start the clock. And there it is. Look at that beautiful clock doing its thing, counting down from a certain number. I don't know what number, I can't really see it. I thought it said 20 just then, but I think it's gone to 19 or 18 or some such number. Who knows? Tonight is Monday the 3rd, and the show will be beginning in 10 seconds. Thank you. Have I turned this microphone off? Oh, no, it's still on. Oh, yes, better say a few words then. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Vobes Show. I'm Richard Vobes. This is the Vobes Show. I've just said that on the 3rd of February, 2020. And it's 8 o'clock here in the UK time. We are live, and today's a bit of an experiment show. I'm testing out some newfangled equipment. So there we go. We'll see how that all works out and pans out. Let's see who's out there in the world of the Vobosphere. So far we have the Ramy Boo, we have the lovely Julia, we have Joe Merchant, we have Fiona Cooper, we have Mickey Stevens, which is nice to see him. We have Linda Kane, we have Ed Loud, we have Andy Dalgleish and many others. And yes, new studio, says Mickey Stevens. That's right, a nice brand new studio. I've been out and I've purchased a bit of land. I've built a whole new building, very close to the new IKEA building. I thought that would be an appropriate setting for it. There's 600 homes surrounding me, and all the furniture I've managed to get has come from IKEA. So that's lovely, isn't it? It's putting all that money straight back into the Swedish community, which is fantastic. Kevin's Rambles turn up and says, I like the look of the new set. Yes, grand. And I like the background. What background is all that they're on about? Not quite sure what you mean. Steve Pilfold has arrived, so let's be on our best behaviour. Hello, Steve. Hope you're well, doing all that signal changing that I'm sure that you've been up to, which will be great. Andy Friesen is here, which is nice. Marriott Genealogy, hello, he says. Mickey Stevens says, what a bargain. Yes, it did come in flat pack, actually. I did have to, I've painted all this stuff here that you can see behind me. I painted it by hand. Yeah, it took a long time to get that absolutely right. Fiona Cooper has retracted something. Andy Worsfold says, good evening all. My first time live. Good evening to you, sir. It's very nice to see you, Andy. We're doing a bit of a test. First of all, am I too loud? I think I might be a bit loud. It looks like I'm going into the red, so I'll try not to talk too loudly. Joe Merchant says, do we get a tour of the new studio? Yes, of course. I'll give you a lovely tour very shortly. Today is really just an experiment day. I'd like to know... Hello, Mike Dixon. I'd like to know if the lip sync is working, first of all, because there's a little black box of a computer that is now doing a hell of a lot of work. It's got the camera and it's got the audio going through it, which is one thing. It's now streaming this out to YouTube so that you guys can see it. But also it's doing a little bit of clever stuff in order to put the backdrop in. Yeah. IKEA, an argument in a box. Yes, an argument coming up, especially if the Allen key isn't being provided. Steve Pilfold says, How is it putting all the money into the Swedish community? Here we go. Here we go. A flippant remark I make, and suddenly Mr. Pedantic is straight there, keyboard warrior, straight at it. Surely all the people working there will be paid, and all of them will be paying PIYE, and don't we get bored of all that kind of crap? Can you not get a bit of a life from time to time, Mr. Pilfold? Do you just enjoy picking up every last little flippant remark on a nonsense know-nothing show like this? I mean, really, it doesn't matter. We're just here to have a good time. We don't need people coming in going, oh, wow, you've said something slightly technical wrong. I mean, just, come on, get with the party. The Veg Grower podcast, there, on the other hand, who's a very nice man, says the studio looks different. Not from where I'm sitting, it doesn't, although there are an extra bits and pieces, but from where you're sitting, yes, it certainly does look different. So that's all good. Joe Merchant says it's working dandy here. Andy Friesen says yes, everything's fine, which is very kind and nice. Mark Donny says all fine, Richard. No lip sync is out, says Kevin Rambles. Well, that is amazing. I have been advised that the little black box that's doing this can only do this for a short period of time until it blows up. So we're kind of testing to see if it will blow up after about an hour of the Vobes show. Now, I have got the beginnings of a cold coming in. Yes, I know everyone's going to say, what, yet again, another blooming cold? I don't know what's the matter with me at the moment. So I have brought with me some very nice tea, which I shall be having. This is some of that Christmas tea that I was given over Christmas, clearly, and it was a Christmassy fruit tazine, which I shall be sipping. I hope that's all right. David Keel says, for the sake of balance, I watch you on a TV. The centre is very bright, hard to focus on you. Sorry to moan. The centre is very bright. Oh, you mean this bit here? I'll see what I can do about that. But thank you for that. It may well change shortly. Who knows? Not out of sync. All good, says Andrew Norris. Thank you very much. Trevor Hand says, green screen, is it? Green screen? Well, that would be telling, wouldn't it? It would be telling. And yes, you're quite right. It is a bit of green screen, ladies and gentlemen. Thought I'd do a bit of an experiment, really, to see if we could... I don't want to do green screen on every show because I'll show you the setup and it's terribly complicated. But tonight's an experiment to see if this actually works and to see how you feel about it. So I've left my mouse. I've left my mouse just there. But in order to do that, I have to chop my hand off. Ow! Which is no good. I could do this. Whoops. I could do this, then you wouldn't quite see what was happening. That would be better. There we go. It's all good fun. So let's have a look. Now, I'm doing this in a slightly different way than the normal way. I've got this wonderful gadget called the Stream Deck, which I normally punch buttons in. Can't use that tonight because I could use it, but I didn't have time to set all of that lot up. So actually, let's have a look. What have we got here? Where are we? I've got to work out how we run this. So I can get rid of this by snapping my fingers, thus. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, now out in the countryside where I can have a lovely picnic, which is rather jolly, which is good. Kevin Ramble says, before anyone says anything, I have not been anywhere near him to give him another cold. Kevin, you sent me a WhatsApp message, and I'm sure you sent a virus with it. And that's what you've given me. I've got a streaming nose. Joe Merchant says, oh, yes, the good old green screen. But had you fooled for a moment, didn't it? Had you fooled just for a moment. Rami Boo says, take your vitamin C and D and elderberry. Whatever echinacea is, and elderberry, I will do it. I quite like the junk behind you. Yeah, don't worry, the junk's coming back. This is just a temporary one-off show. I just wanted to see if I could green screen. I'm experimenting really to do the Saturday chat on the Board Explorer from different backdrops and run them in. But I thought as I had purchased some new lights and I wanted to try out the old green screen. I'm going to show you how it all works in a minute. I'm going to show you how it all works so that you can see. But we can't see the calendar, says Nigel sadly. Yes, you can't. No, that's very true. And I have actually changed the date on the calendar. So it's got a lovely picture on this particular day, but you can't see it. Now, if I'd have been clever, of course, I could have scanned in the calendar or edited in the calendar pictures, but I can't do that at the moment. Sorry about that. That said, though, I could probably do the webcam. I could probably put the webcam... I could probably put the webcam feed behind me, which would be interesting, and then I could put all sorts of things in. Hadn't thought about that. Looks like you're stuck in your computer. Yes, I am at the moment. I am stuck in the computer. Sorry about that. Martin Cannon says, are you getting your daily dose of vitamin C? Well, there is some vitamin C in this tea, I believe. What I need is this, which is... you can't see that now. I put it down here. You can see it better. This is lovely Fruits of the Forest Christmas Tazine version of it. So hopefully I'm getting my vitamin C from that. I'll just shove that over there. So I can't put anything over there because my arm disappears, ladies and gentlemen. So the lurgy is out there attacking folks. I appreciate folks are adding tissues to sneeze into, but hey ho. Yes, I use a hanky. It's pronounced echinacea. Echinacea. I don't know what echinacea is. Oh, that's the stuff that where does echinacea grow? Where is that? Is that it's not a native to the UK, is it? I have to say that's very delicious. Very nice. Fruits of the Forest by the Kent and Sussex Tea and Coffee Company. Lovely people. Joe Merchant says he's now streaming me on the big screen. Woo! How exciting is that? That's very nice. Thank you very much. Echinacea, says Kim. She will know. Echinacea. Echinacea. Is that it? Echinacea. Echinacea. Sorry, you got me stuck on the word now. Echinacea. 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 Whatever that. Julia Thought says it was more echinacea. More. As long as I don't put the f in front of it, we'll be f. Anyway, let's not go down there. This is not really a family show, but we don't want to upset anybody. Paul Smith says your glasses interact with a green screen. Looks like you've got a hole in the side of your head. Yeah, that is the trouble with green screen. It doesn't quite work very well. But I just thought I'd try it, really. I had a bit of an old green screen. You'll see it in a minute. I'm going to show you in a minute. I just thought, waste a bit of your time by pretending I'm out here in the countryside and just seeing how well it works. Thank you, though, Paul, for your wonderful comments. Rami Boo says echinacea is cone flower. Now, I'm no closer. Cone flowers. You'll have to tell me what the hell a cone flower is. I remember the film Coneheads, and I know what a cone is, but I have no idea what cone flowers are. Mr. Great Plum says it's sunnier where you are. Oh, we got blue skies here down on the old Vobes. We've moved the Vobes pod up onto the downs at the moment, which is very nice. Ecky Thump, says Patrick Rose. Yes, Ecky Thump. That's I need a bit of Ecky Thump. Hang on, I'm having a slurp of my Ecky Nova. Well, you sound jolly. Yes, I do. I hopefully it will go. I've had a sandwich with raw garlic in it, with a bit of cheese and ham to try and get rid of the effect of the raw garlic. I had a sandwich of that, so I'm hoping the garlic will do its job, because it's supposed to. That's what Kim Murden says. Andy Friesen says, great tea from there, isn't it? I'm having a cup of Pluckley tea. Yes, I must go and get some more of their lovely tea. They are very nice people. Where in Sussex says, yeah, the arms of your glasses are obviously reflecting slightly green off the lights. Yes, that's true. I have actually got... you can't see them. I will show you in a minute. I'll show you exactly how it works. Vobes Towers, eh? Well, let's get through these backgrounds, because I've changed a few of the backgrounds. Hang on, I'm doing this all by hand, so you'll just have to bear with me a minute. What one have we got on there? So that's that one. Okay, so let's put... There we are. Here's another nice bit. This is by the hang on, which side is it? This is by the Lewis racecourse. I've since found out. I walked past it the other day, as you can see by the logo. The logo there. I can't do that. The logo there, which says baldexplorer.com. That was on one of my walks recently. I just screen grabbed a couple of shots. A couple of shots, ladies and gentlemen. And I screen grabbed them and shoved them in. So that's the Lewis racecourse, which everybody very kindly has told me all about, that used to be there in Lewis and closed, I think, sometime in the 60s. What you can't see is when I went for the walk up there and to that direction, watching me was a Land Rover with these blokes in it. And I was walking up this path up here behind me, and this bloke was there in this Land Rover just sort of casually watching me, and I was holding my camera doing my bit to thing. It was quite amusing. So that's it. Ramy Boo says it looks like a purple daisy with a large dome centre. Oh, hence, sorry, I had to think you're talking about the echinacea, whatever the flower is that you said. It's not a hollyhock, is it? No. Oh, it's a big cone in it. Oh, okay. Is it like hello? Linda Kane says echinacea is wild in the United States, but it grows here in gardens. Oh, have you got any in your garden, Linda? I'll come round and shove some in my tea. I'll have a little bit of boiled echinacea. Mr. Great Plum says he's walking home from an evening meeting. Is that at the planning office? Have you been out there? Because I don't know if anybody else remembers. Lovely Matthew did a video. Well, he didn't, but the council chamber, if I remember rightly, he was in there giving his words of wisdom to the whole council chamber. And if I remember rightly, the who was it? Not the judge, but the senior councillor, whoever he was there doing his gavel bashing. I feel sorry for gavels most of the time. Lewis Racecourse had a grandstand and everything, did it? And it's all been sold off. How did people get up there? Did they walk up there? Or there must have been sort of places for the ladies and gents, the ponies and traps and all of that sort of thing. Shrewsbury up in Shropshire had a similar sort of thing, had a beautiful horse racing centre. It's now full of houses. They've built all over it. It's another one. And the roads, you can trace the roads. They've given the roads things like Racehorse Lane and Racehorse Road or Racehorse Avenue and all that sort of rubbish. And I remember when I first met up with Harriet and I was interested in that, where she lived. And I said, oh, you know, there was a race course round here. And she said, no, don't be silly. There wasn't. I said, yes, there was. Look at the name. And we got old maps out and lo and behold, and she was going, blimey, I never knew that. And it was interesting how, how people can live in areas where there's steeped in history and they have absolutely no idea. Where I live in Worthing, at the back of my house is Morrison's, used to be the co-op. Well, many years ago it was railway sidings. No doubt Mr. Pilfold was operating the signals there in the 1870s. And they used to have the sidings there, and there were other houses behind me. There's no houses there now. And I had a knock on the door about 15 years ago. This chap knocked on the door, elderly bloke, and he said, oh, you don't know if the man at number 3's in? And I said, well, I don't know. Have you tried knocking on the door? And he said, yes, I did try knocking on the door, but nobody answered. I said, oh, that's a shame. He said, I used to live at number 3. I said, really? You used to live there? He said, oh, yes, when I was a boy. And when I was a boy, there was stables and horses at the back. I thought, blimey, really? And he said, yes, I used to go there and they would come down with the horses and walk them down the road. And I mean, he was about 80-something, and this was 15 years ago, so it just goes to show you. So Dean Cooper says, my dad rode along there. He was a jockey and they closed the racetrack, in 67. Goodness gracious, there we go. Before my time. Many, many, many years before my time, I would like to think. Of course, it's not actually true. Linda Kane says, nope, she hasn't got any echinacea in her garden. Have you got any hollyhocks in your garden? Lovely Linda Kane. Ramy Boo says, doesn't grow wild here in Oregon. We grow it in our gardens like a perennial, But yes, it is a herbal. Oh, right, okay. Yes, meeting with the Southern Area Councillors, says Mr. Great Plum, having fun with his council members, of course. Did you get to thrash that gavel about? Dish, dish, dish. Silence! Silence in court! The meeting is now adjourned. That's expensive. It was like mancure. Mancure, not quite sure mancure is. Where in Sussex says it was all sidings for fruit and veg at Worthing with massive fields on the north side of the railway. That's right, they had market gardens over along there, and there's 3 Georgian houses up that stretch, just, well, probably opposite where I am, and did some research on that. And yeah, it was lovely market gardens right next to the railway. So, you know, you're having all this steam engine and all the coal dust going down onto the stuff they were growing. But of course, they didn't really know that in those days, coughing and spluttering as they were, burning as much coal as they physically could while the trains came in and out. And of course, where I was fields for a long, long time. And then they thought, do you know what? We'll build a lovely house for the Vobes. Obviously, he's not yet been born. We'll have to build a number of other houses. This was in the Victorian period. And they thought, yeah, we'll build a whole load of houses. But one day the Vobes will come and sit there and do live shows and moan about how land has been developed on. And it's quite true. That was a prediction that came true. Robert Baxter says there's an estate opposite a place I deliver to called Cherry Blossom Close, and someone told me the shoe polish factory used to be there. Oh, well, it's got the Cherry Blossom. I wonder is that the Cherry Blossom, the shoe company, Cherry Blossom. Well, I never. And what is it now? An estate of houses, presume, as opposed to an industrial estate. Oh, that's interesting. Robert Croser says, is he reading the news tonight? No, not at the moment. But if you send me a newspaper, Mr. Croser, I will give it my best shot. So that would be good. Joe Merchant is saying Mancure honey, Richard. That's what you need. Oh, yes. My lovely daughter, who's in New Zealand at the moment, did send over some Mancure. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. Mancure honey. Is it the Mancure bees? They're sort of bees that are about this big, aren't they? Size of pikes, I believe. And they swim through the air with little swords attached to their noses. And they chop people up, apparently. Very odd. Excuse me. Worthing was nationally famous for its greenhouse crops. Most of the product sent up to London. Well, there you are. How about that? Yeah, I wonder what kind of crops they used to grow in those days, because there was fields and stuff down to the Chapel of Ease as well. For those who don't live in Worthing, I'm not going to explain where that is. Patrick Rose says, watch out, Richard, there is a cow coming up behind you. Thanks. Thank you for that. Yes, they could be roaming up on me. I think it's time to get rid of that particular picture, and we'll go. Oh, which side are you? This side. Hello, what are you doing here? I can do that, you know. Yes, there's my twin decided to make an appearance on today's show. It's rather unnerving having a twin next to me, so I think I shall get a shot of him. And here we are. Now, can anyone tell me where this is? This is been in our videos fairly recently. Can anyone tell me where it is? There's no prize for guessing, but it means that whilst you're doing that, I get to have another cup of this rather lovely tea, just to keep the old vocal cords going. Well, this is going rather well, isn't it? I mean, it works. The principle works. I've just got to find an absolute legitimate reason to use it, which is good. Mancure, not mancure. Oh, right, okay. Uka, Manuka. Is it Manuka? Is that it? Manuka. Lovely Julia says parts of Lancing were greenhouses too, and an orchard, I think. Yeah, I bet there were loads of orchards. Andy Friesen says he's got it right. He's got it. It's Titchfield. And, hang on a minute. Is that a bogey? No. Chuck that over there. Yes, Titchfield. And we know why it's called Titchfield, because look how big it is compared to a person. It is titchy. And they are quite touchy about that. Andy Worsfold says, I used to go and buy tomatoes from the greenhouse behind Page's garage when I was little. Well, I'm blowed. There you are. How about that? That's amazing. And I bet those tomatoes tasted delicious. Why is it that we all say that tomatoes taste repulsive? Well, not repulsive. They just have no flavour from the supermarkets, yet we still buy them. We say that, but we still buy them, don't we? I know we don't have much choice in the supermarket. It's either tomatoes with no flavour or tomatoes that are so expensive that your mortgage payments won't get made if you have. So what do? You'd think that the supermarkets would hear that and listen and think, they don't like these non-flavour foods. But obviously enough people are uneducated to know that tomatoes used to have flavours, and in order to bring them to you in huge numbers, we have to remove that flavour, because we put those flavours into things like opal fruits, or whatever they call them these days. Tomato flavour. Have you tried the tomato flavoured opal fruits? Me neither, because I don't think they actually make them. Robert Croser says, where's the Thunderbolt? I have no idea what you're... Oh, it's no... You see, that's where you're showing your ignorance, because Titchfield is not to be confused with the Titfield Thunderbolt, which is a completely different thing. Tit and titch, two different things. Look it up. Andy Worsfold says there was a stuffed bear in there, which used to be scary. It's a stuffed bear in a greengrocer's. I wonder why they put a stuffed bear in a greengrocer's. Lancing had a huge railway carriageway building industry from Asda right down to the sea where the industrial area is now. Well, it's a good job they don't have that now, because the road along the sea would never get through it. Great big long railway carriages from Asda down to the sea. And as for, the mini roundabout, you'd be stuck there forever. It's bad enough on that road if anyone puts some temporary lights or a car conks out. You need tomatoes on the vine, says Joe Merchant. We certainly do. We need to grow our own tomatoes. If it wasn't for the tomatoes, I think Worthing would be a much smaller town today. Well, I wish that were the case then. It would be nice if Worthing was a much smaller town. It's far too big, grown far too big. Even in the mere 28 years that I've been living here, it seems to have got bigger and bigger. Andy Freeson says, I only buy the British ones. The others from foreign countries taste awful. Talking about the tomatoes again. John Gregson, says Robert Croser, apropos of I don't know what, referring to I don't know what. But I'm pleased that you mentioned his name, whoever he is. I got that wrong, and Julia set me right, says Patrick Rose. Okay. Oh, yes, the Titfield is Titchfield. That's right, Julia's correcting him also. Nigel Sadler says, Worthing used to be famous for its glass houses during the 19th century. The town supplied tomatoes and other crops, the finest restaurants in London and beyond. We kind of said that about the market gardening, which was going on along the railway line. That's true. Joe Merchant says the hydroponics make everything taste watery. Yes, they're doing that with beef now, haven't they? And I believe swimming pools, the old Aquarina has now got hydroponics in it to keep the water tasting watery. They might even try that technique in the sea. You never know. Lovely Julia says OFM, for whatever that means. He wears clothes more than Ox Shocker. Sorry, Julia, I've no idea. Don't buy the orange, unripe snooker ball tomatoes. People do so. That's why they keep selling them. Oh, yes. The ones on the vine taste much nicer, but don't put them in the fridge. I never put tomatoes in the fridge. I learnt that from an early age, that you never should put tomatoes in the fridge. Ramy Boo has just said, did anyone say Titchfield Abbey? Yeah, we've been talking about Titchfield. Have you only got half the comments on? I've got the whole live chat, so I can see all the comments, apparently. Robert Croser says, was he starred in the Titfield Thunderbolt? Oh, was it? That may be true. Good. The Veg Grower Podcast, hydroponics is the future, I am afraid. Well, it may be the future for you. Bloody tomato in there, look. Great big tomato. Let's hope it's not. That and insect eating. That's what they're trying to force down us now, isn't it? Insects. We're being told that we've got to eat the stuff that they eat in the third world. And I don't think people really want to go and start eating insects. If I remember correctly, people were eating insects because they were very, very poor countries and they couldn't afford to eat things like meat. Here we are in a rich country, and it's absurd, isn't it? And obscene, because we are now being told that we're going to have to eat insects. And have you noticed that the trend for those genes? I listened to a very interesting chap who was saying, you see these people walking about in Europe, in America, in England, or Britain. They walk about with these ripped jeans, and it's all the fashion. That what you're effectively doing is trying to look like you wear rags, but in a stylish way. Wearing rags, you are trying to somehow emulate the people from the poor countries who actually have to wear in rags. And it seems quite obscene, but the younger people have no idea that is actually what they're doing. You see these young girls, particularly girls, youngish girls, with their jeans slashed up, so they look so, well, they get as much skin as out there as they can. But all this is doing is really saying, look at me, I'm poor, and yet they're not poor. It's a sort of what do they call it? It's that social whatever it is. Jason Cutler says, hi, did you know the glass came from Crystal Palace to build the glass houses around Worthing? I think that's right. I will Google it to make sure. Yeah, well, Google knows everything. Real fruit and real and fresh veg are the best. Yes, says Danny Bunny. Not Danny Bunny, Mickey Stevens. You're quite right there. You're quite right. Joe Merchant says the Americans seem to eat green tomatoes. Do they? Do Americans eat green tomatoes, and is that a special variety? I eat loads of midges in the summer up here. Yeah, that's why I'm not going up to Cumbria in the summer. Altenberg Eagle says tomatoes so easy to grow at home even without a garden. There we go. That's the best way of eating them. Mealworms. I'm not having worms for my meals. Absolutely not. Joe Merchant likes crickets. It's the grunge look, I'm told. But that's just a name, isn't it? But really what it is they're just trying to look like poor people because they are literally dressing in rags. They are stylish rags, but they are literally dressing like rags. Linda Kane says, I see what you're getting at, Julia. I can't see what Julia said. Ramibu said, I've just switched over to live chat. Oh, I see. And I can get all the messages. Yeah, that's the best thing. Mickey Stevens says, social paradox. We live in so much of that social paradox at the moment, which is a bit of a worry. Francesco Boing has arrived. Hello to you, Francesco Boing. He says the Vobes sitting in an office while sitting at a castle. Magic is real. That's right. We just moved the show down there. In actual fact, I'm now going to take you on a little tour of my little vehicle that I've got, if that's okay. Thought we'd have a little stroll along Worthing seafront. Now, as you can see, it's a lovely day. It's always sunny here in Worthing. This is a little bit around here, and this is just off, not Steen Gardens, but well, we've moved again. Sorry. We're now heading up towards the pier, which is very nice. There's people up there, as you can see. We've got the nice beach on my left-hand side, which is all looking good. The sea is looking great. And now I'm just sliding up the pier, which is remarkable, really, isn't it? And yeah, I did set up this thing called armchair walks. I don't know whether you know. Now it's pitch black. I think that's time to do a bit of the reveal now. Hang on a minute. I've got to get back to... every time that happens. Here we go. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to the revealing of what's going on here. I'll go onto my webcam because this is where you can see. I'm actually nowhere near any of these places. You can see I've got this green screen behind me. Here's the back room that I'm in with all the gubbins and all of that mess. And there's this bit of green screen cloth, which actually is just not big enough. I need to get one that is at least the width of the room. I need to get a very long green screen cloth. We were looking at the these pull-up ones, but even that's not wide enough. I need something much wider if I'm going to do the green screen. And you'll see that I've got some extra lights. Something's just collapsed on the floor. The main computer operating this has just toppled onto the floor, ladies and gentlemen. It's a bit of a worry. We are live. It really has collapsed onto the floor down here. That box there is the computer that I've inadvertently pulled with the pulled by holding the thing. Hang on, let's get out of here for a minute. So how do I switch that off? Hang on a minute. There's a way of doing this. I've got to. No, where is it? Not that one. Hang on. Let's just take the filter off. There we go. So that's me back in the studio, and as you can see, I've got a light here, and I've got a light on the other side. How much of this can I reveal? Let's just try. Oops, wrong one. I can reveal a bit more of the studio now, ladies and gentlemen. So if I turn this light off, and I turn this light off, you can see the green screen. It's all a bit overexposed now, ladies and gentlemen. Very overexposed. Quite why that is, it's because it's on auto exposure. So let me just come back into here. Okay, so this is the green screen. Now, in order to get enough green screen behind me, I've had to have the green screen far too close. You wouldn't ordinarily do that. You wouldn't have it that close. And then this has been keying it out live. Thanks, Francesco. Comments like that are not welcome, mate. So I'm afraid I'm just gonna get shot of you. Hide user on this channel. There we go. So the user's messages. That's Francesco now. I've just blocked him because comments like that do not help. Right. So now, bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. Bear with me. It's all a bit mad in here at the moment. This is live. Behind here, of course, we have all our special effects. We have our Vogue show thingamy jigamy what's it. If I do this, I can get a shot of that. And with a little jiggery pokery, we're back to the Vobes show, ladies and gentlemen. Now I have arm space. I'm actually on this microphone and not that one because of the complicated way of doing it. Needs to be a material that will give a uniform colour. Yes, so now, is that me? Is that overexposed again? I'm not quite sure. So that's all good. Oh yeah, deleted that. Good. What do we got here? Green bays. Yes, it's called green screen. Green screen. It's always mad in here. In there, says Richard. Yes, it is always mad. It is a little bit mad. Ramiboo says next time you need to wear a green shirt so you look like a floating head. No, I don't want to. The whole point is that you don't blend into it so that you can sit through. Looks like a magic trick, says Linda Kane. Yes, I mean, it is a bit like a magic trick, really. We've had it's quite fun. You can do some interesting things. I just wanted to do that as a bit of an experiment in today's show. Mickey Stevens says it is magic. Linda Kane says no worry, it's fine. Attenberg Eagle says get some green tarpaulin cheap from the garden centre or the internet. Well, I do have upstairs some more of this green screen, but I don't quite know what the size is, and you've got to work out a way of hanging it up. You have to light it separately, which is why I've got these lights here, which I've just bought, actually. If I can work out how to turn them on again. There we are. Oh. These have got barn doors on them. If I move this microphone out the way, you might be able to see a bit of it. It's got barn doors on it so that you can do some groovy effects, ladies and gentlemen. Although that's not really a groovy effect. I know, it's just burning me out. But let's turn that off. There we go. I can close that back up. That's a new purchase there, because I've set these studio lights up, which I have in the studio, and they're pretty much now all the time. But sometimes I film in the kitchen, sometimes in my other room, and I needed some extra lights to cart about. So these are great to take away and do some other bits and pieces. I wore a green top in the BBC weather studio, says Ware in Sussex, and I bet that was fun. I just had a head in the Globe. Right. I know. I suppose if you've not done green screen, I mean, I've done green screen. We used to do green screen when we did Snug and Cozy. Television's green screen, and it was dreadful. But it was a long time ago. That was in the 90s. I mean, it's come a long way now. The fact that I can sit here and do green screen, and that YouTubers can do it. And of course, it's much better. This is trying to do it live on a Diddy camera, over the internet, all live. I mean, it's absolutely amazing what the technology now is capable, that people like me in my back room could do, that 20 years ago you just would have no concept that you would have any way of doing that. I mean, it is remarkable. Am I still slightly... I think I'm still slightly overexposed. It looks overexposed. Let's just turn that down a fraction. See how that looks now, ladies and gentlemen. These sometimes, getting the balance of the lights. Why does it have to be green, says Linda Kane. Okay, so the principle of green screen is it doesn't have to be green. It could be any colour, really. But green, and that sort of vibrant green, has been proved to be the best colour to key out. It's also useful. It's not a colour that most people would wear. Very few people have that vibrant green. For film, it tends to be blue. They'd use blue screen because film works better when you take the blue out. But the idea is it's a uniform colour. And the computer looks for that one shade of colour and can remove it completely. So you sit with the screen behind you, and it says, I will take out that shade, and bang, it will remove that, leaving everything else. So if you wore green, like Steve Pilfold said that he wore green, suddenly the background will shine through you. So you can wear all green up to here, and then just have a floating head, which, it's a novel effect. If you've done it, then you've done it. But, after a while, it's a little bit boring, he says, in a derogatory way. But it's fun. For novices, it's quite fun. But yeah, so the idea is really that it's a way of cutting you out. So, of course, in feature films, they use this all the time. You'll see blue screens. If you see the behind the scenes, they may have great big sections of the set which just have blue, and that they're going to key into that. Keying is just the word they used for sort of pasting in a composite of a digital image or another image or something else. Used to be blue, says Robert Crowe. Says, I say blue tends to be more for film, and television and electronic digital stuff tends to use green. And it can be any shade, though. You could use any other colour you like, but they're the ones that work best. They think they used to use a blue screen. Oh, well, I've just said that. So that was good. Attenberg Eagle says, what software do you use to get the green screen effect? Okay, so in order to broadcast this out live, there's a free software called OBS. I can't remember off the top of my head what it stands for, but if you put OBS into Google, it should come up. And if it doesn't, if you just put OBS and streaming or live, it will come up. And it's a software then that it's quite complicated. It's quite takes a bit of time to get used to how it works. It's a bit weird how it works. It's not overly intuitive, but once you've got how it works, like most bits of software, because it's free and people have developed it freely, it works differently than many softwares which, you know, follow pretty much the same theme. So anyway, download that, and then when you've got your camera source in, you'll see that there's a thing called filters, and one of the filters is chroma key, and that's the old name really that still lingers for this green screen effect, chroma key, because it's taking the chroma element out of the color, or looking for the chroma. So that's all good. What do we got here? Mark Donny McLeod says, as most cameras use RGB, those colours are used. There we go. So yeah. Where in Sussex says OBS is quirky. Yeah, it definitely is quirky. It is a, like so many of these. What do they call it when it's a free? Everybody can contribute to it and add mods to. There's I forget what the term is now. It's like a community of people that can upgrade things, who have the knowledge and that can add components, and then, you know, they compile it. As a result, of course, it is quite quirky. Veggrower Podcast says, wish I could use OBS. You can. I don't know what stops you, other than you've got that Minerva camera, whatever it's called. Mevo, is it Mevo? I can't remember what it's called. I don't know why you can't use that. You just need to get a couple of webcams, surely. Dan's World says, hi Richard, did you order your Brexit coin? I think they're going to be freely available in the as part of ordinary post as part of ordinary currency soon. I think they'll just turn up. So I haven't ordered one. I think that you can just get, you can get them in presentation boxes. I don't know how much they are, probably more than 50p, I imagine. Andrew Murphy says, hi Richard. Hello Andrew, nice to see you. Open source, thanks very much. There we are, open source, thanks. Floating our boat, nice to see you out there. I should have got a canal background. That's what I should have done. I wonder if I could do that live on the show. Float your boat. Hang on a minute, let's see what we can do. Let's try a little test here. Oh, of course, I've just dropped the green screen. Hang on, it won't take long. Let's go to YouTube. Now, I'm going to do all this live. You can't see any of this. Well, hang on a minute. Yes, you can. We can, has that gone to, why hasn't that gone to the green screen? Wait a minute. I'm on show there. That's not gone on green screen. Not green. I don't know what I'm talking about. That's, wait, hang on. Oh, I know. I'm still in filters. I've got to close that. Oh, right. Here we go. I turned the camera. Sorry, I was monitoring a different thing. Right, okay, we're going to try this. We'll try this live. So let's find the mouse. Let's go to... I was already in YouTube. So this is YouTube. It's found me. But let's put float your boat. Here we go. Float your boat. Let's get... let's see the most recent one. Here we go. Look at this.
With Grammarly, you can find really good, no, perfect words.
Bit of an advert
that make your
there.
writing sharp.
Give them a bit of money because they're nice people. So let's come in here and find a nice little shot. Float your boat. Here we go. Here's a nice lock. Look. Now let's get a bit of your boat. Hang on. Where are you? Here we go. Look, there's Rich. There's Fran. We want them both together. Wait. Here we go. Here we go. Look. So, I'm going to grab this. I've just taken this at random, guys, so don't grab a screenshot of that. Let's save that as number. We'll just save that as 6. So that I can save it as 56, whatever. Right, okay. I've got this screenshot. That's the guys there. Come back to me. We can come out of there for a second. So now what I just need to do is find OBS. Oh, there it is. Oh, hang on. I've got to save it, haven't I? Oh, I did save it. Yeah, I've got to find where I've saved it. Hang on. Just talk amongst yourselves whilst I try and set this up. This is quite complicated to do when you're doing it live. There they are. There they go. Right, now I just need to go to scene 2. Oh, look at that. You're not supposed to see that. Right, let's get... Rich and Fran in. There they are. Look, let's just put them a bit bigger. Right, okay. So I'm assuming you can... I guess you can seal this. Let's just get rid of that thing there. Right, shove that down the bottom for the moment. Okay, we'll get rid of them. Go back to the camera. Okay, right. Let's come out of that. Go back to that one. So now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to green screen myself back in with Richard and Fran in the back room. SIG says Spectrum is green. Open source. Right, use your laptop, says... use your laptop, Richard suggests. Kevin's Ram. I'm here, Robert. Right, okay. So, I've already just knocked this all down, but it won't take a moment to shove this back in. Hopefully. We'll stick that back on there. Like that. Plonk this up. Okay, we've got the green screen. What I want to just do is kill these other lights. So we've got the green screen. Let me just get this light back into a position that will work. Switch that one on. Oops, I've just pulled the lead out. That's one light. Got to get an even light, you see, on the green screen. That's quite essential. This one has a light in it somewhere. So now we've got a reasonably, which is it's this side is there we go. So in theory, you can see that I just need enough to cut me out. So when I go back to my other camera, if I go back to my other, let's see if it will work on here. There we go. Look, now I just need enough so that I'm in there. But you can see that you're going to see a bit of the rest of the room. So what I now need to do very quickly is just trim those bits like that. So that now when you see me next, you will I can key out and put in the picture. So hang on, let's just see if we can do that. Doing this all live, ladies and gentlemen. Doing this all live. You should do the Vobes show from the surface of the moon, says Stephen Richards. Yes, that's a good idea. Jason Cutter says, correction, the glass for Worthing Greenhouse is from Victoria Great Exhibition 18. Thanks, Jason, for looking that up. Okay, so now I go back into my camera here and put the filter back on. That's the filter on. Come out of that. So we're all... Oh, look, there's a mark up there. We'll see that. Hang on a minute. So let's just bring that down a little bit more. Hopefully that will be enough. Let's just check that. So in theory, in theory, we should be able to do it now. I suddenly had a moment where I had to think. So, well, there we go. And now I'm back. Oh, sorry, Fran. If I move this side, there we go. These are the lovely Richard and Fran from Float Your Boat. Yeah, it didn't take long, did it? Didn't take long to put them back into the scene. Marvellous. Do check them out on YouTube. They're wonderful people and they've been on their boat. It's absolutely fantastic to see. Dave Ford says, I hope that everyone's following this at home. Yeah, if you've got an old green sheet on your bed or curtains, you can rip them off. If you've got green sofa, just pull the upholstery off. That's probably the best thing to do. And... oh, hang on. Robert Croser says it's Roger Delgado. Is it Delgado? From the Master. That's nasty. That's nasty, Robert. I thought you would RS every engineer I come in contact with has... I'm not sure what he's talking about there. Kevin Dramble says, Patrick, when I've been to his house and watched him editing, amazing what he does, I get lost after the first couple of things. It's true. Float our boat. Now, you don't have to visit us. That's true. But not only that, actually, I don't have to get in a canal boat. I could just put some canal footage on the back there and pretend I could be on the tiller here and just go. Oh, sorry, Fran. I'm just picking. No. Oh, I can't do it to you, Richard. I can't. I can pick Fran's nose. Look. I'm sorry. I am mucking about. I'm sorry about that. So there we go. Let's get rid of that. There we are. Look, and we're back. And we're back to our main title thing, which is great. Now, before we go, we have the lovely Mike Dixon who's out there. I hope Mike Dixon is still out there watching. What we try to do on this show, on the Vobes show, is encourage people to go out with their phones. It would be great, Fran and Richard, if you did this from where you are. It's like 30 seconds, a minute on your phone. Look at that, you see. It's see-through. On your phone. And just sort of go, hi, Richard. I'm on the Gran Canary, having a lovely holiday with my pet parrot. Not a canary, couldn't afford one. And send it in. For example, Mike Dixon has done just that. Let's hear from Mike Dixon.
Hello from Hove Seafront. It's a beautiful sunny Sunday morning, and we're down on the beach with our dog Bella, and behind me you can hear the sound of the waves crashing against the beach. It's a beautiful sound, strong sound of nature. So I thought I'd just share it with you for a few moments. Okay, I'll pass you back now to Richard in the studio. Bye.
And there it is. As simple as that. So yeah, people, if you fancy sending in your video, we'll show it on the Vobes show. Send it to me, richard@vobes.com. It's just my name, richard@vobes.com. Very easy to do. If it's a big file, send it via a company called WeTransfer. WeTransfer. I need to get the information so it comes up on the thing. I might, if I remember, I'll put it on the link underneath when I finish the show. That's what I should do, so it's nice and easy. Hard Cheese says, were you once in a band called Right Said Fred? Yeah, I was Bernard Cribbins in that band. Right said Fred, cup hold of Charlie, up come Charlie with a wheelbarrow, moaning, groaning, grumbling and complaining. We were getting nowhere, and so we had a cup of tea. Yeah, that was me. Definitely me. Robert Croser says, yeah, I suppose RS, is that Richard Suggett, RS, had my Audi serviced. The mechanic did more of a laptop. I don't know what he's talking about. So there we go. How are we doing on the time? We are 7 minutes in, ladies and gentlemen. So if you've got any questions, now is the time to ask those questions, if you haven't been doing that already. Wednesday show, let me tell you, we have another What's in the Box. Although it's not in a box, it's in a parcel. The lovely Elaine Brazier has sent in a little mysterious parcel, which we will be guessing. There's clues, and we'll be trying to determine if we can guess what's in the parcel before we get to open it. So I hope you're going to take part in that. Elaine has been absolutely brilliant in the past with all sorts of bits and things. Down here, Elaine, I want to show you something. Hang on, I've just got to go through the green screen. This is what happens if you move the green screen about. You start to reveal things that you shouldn't see. About 5 years ago, I think it was 5 or 6 years ago, Elaine very kindly sent in some bits of Roman tile that she pulled up from Canterbury Cathedral when nobody was looking, and she sent it into the Vobes show, and the lovely Kevin Hall has produced this. Let's put it on the I can't show you on the webcam without coming out of, wait, hang on, the only way I can do that is to go here and then go there. Here it is. This is our we've just got to get the right resin in here. We still haven't done this, Kevin, to make this a nice little thing. But that was a What's in the Box. Tesserae, I think that's called. Something like that. How do I get out of there? I'm just trying to... There we go. Nice and easy. Actually, I can get from there to there. Oh yeah, I can do that. Oh, I can do that. Yeah, that's not what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do. Anyway. So yes, that was a lovely lane. She sent that in 5 or 6 years ago now, it seems like that. Henry's Adventures, good evening. Like the new background. Oh, you've missed the whole show. We've been doing a bit of green screen stuff, Henry. Sitting behind me here is a little bit of green magic cloth. So we've just been playing around with that. Hang on, I can show you just for the benefit of your very good self. Here we go. Look, bit of green screen in the messy studio that I call my... in my house, but pressing magic buttons like that, we can do just a bit of fun. Patrick Rose says, Julia and Richard should make an album of Bald Explorer songs. I used to make up songs for my kids. I used to make them up. I'm sure everybody used to do that for their kids. One of them was called My Name is Fred, funny enough. Not Right Said Fred. And it used to go a bit like this. My name is Fred and I wish I was in bed having a cup of tea. I bumped my head and now I'm dead, so will you marry me? My ears are blue, my nose is black. My mother-in-law is a lumberjack. She's so wild I'll give her a smack, so will you marry me? My name is Fred and I wish I was in bed having a cup of tea. Bom bom. And when I was having a relationship with Harriet up in Shropshire, I told her this. I said, I made these songs up and I sang this song to her. And she said, oh, you're making that up. And I said, no, my children know that. And I rang up Georgie on the spot and I said, hello, George. And then I said, my name is Fred, and she filled in all the rest. And Harriet was gobsmacked. Her jaw dropped down. Like I said, oh, you haven't made it up. I said, no, my kids know these songs. There's loads of them. The Kookaburra bird song, that's a great song. Kookaburra, hang on, how does it go? Kookaburra, kookaburra, kookaburra bird. Have you heard the kookaburra bird? It's got a long nose like a garden hose, and when the wind blows, it blows away. Yeah, it's a nice little ditty. Next time I'm down, Richard, we will have a look at it, says Kevin Rambles. Oh, yes, we must fix that. That would be good. Patrick, Rose, I read that Patrick, thank you for joining us. Where have you been and why haven't you been? Yes, a teapot stand. Yes, it would be perfect. Thank you, Linda Kane. What a brilliant idea. Use the tesserae and all of that. As a teapot stand, we'll get it flush and we'll get our teapot and it will sit on there. How splendid. That's very good. Dave Ford says, just started to watch your video, Kevin. You've been multitasking, watching the Vobes show at the same time. I know you can do that with this show, luckily. Jason Cutler says, hi, Richard. I used to live in West Durrington. That you've heard, that the way you've heard it or not. Hang on, let me read that. And hi, Richard. I used to live in West Durrington. That the way you've heard. Yeah, I've West Durrington. Yes, I've heard of West Durrington. Well, I've heard Durrington. I assume it's got a west side and an east side and a best side and a bad side. You should have guest viewers on the Vobes show. Yes, well, I would. If anybody fancies coming down and being a guest on the show, that would be great. I noticed that Richard Suggett had a phone-in on his The Veg Grower podcast show. That was great fun. I called in last night, I called in, and I need to get another phone so I can connect a phone with a special number rather than using my own private number, of course, and that would be good. Andy Friesen says, Henry's Adventures, your videos are great too. So there we are, look at that. It's a lovely group of wonderful producers. Henry is God, said Robert Croser. So there we are. If you need, water when there's a drought, talk to Henry. That will be great. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we've come up to the end of the show now. It's been wonderful to have you. I'm going to take myself off and clean out my nasal passages, gargle with some TCP and eat some lemon jelly, which is always quite nice. So the kettle is on. It's coffee time, says Dean Cooper. Very good. I've been drinking some wonderful coffee from the Kent and Sussex Tea Company. But from me here on the Vobes Show, thank you so much for watching. Do look after yourself. Thanks for coming. How I get out of this show now is a bit difficult. I probably have to do this and then go to the intro. So take care, one and all. Bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.